This was a $5 super thanks from JB. Says, draft picks aside, have we won a Micah and Mozzie for Williams and Clark trade? True or false? I think you have. I'll answer this first part this way. I think that the pivot post Micah Parsons trade has been as good as realistically hoped. You might have just been better off trading picks to go get Quinnen and not having to go find that edge in the offseason. But, your pivot since then has been really good. So I'll give them a ton of credit for that. I am very glad to have Quinnen Williams. He also says is a superb fatty. Harder to find than a great edge. It depends. I think the level of player that both Quinnen and Micah are very tough to find. That's why if you can get them, you just go do it. I think it's harder to develop some defense tackles. You've seen that across the NFL. Sometimes it's a slower developmental process there. It kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. What's your preferred flavor of ice cream type of deal? Do think overall the locker room has been handled quite well by Brian Schottenheimer. Agree. That was a $5 super thanks from JB. If you want in to our weekly raffles, send in a $5 super thanks or super chat. Simple, easy to do. It'll get you in to all of them. Skeptical Fan says George Pickens is the new number 1 wide receiver. It's funny. And this came in before the Chiefs game. CeeDee Lamb actually has more yards per route run this year. It's just been he's had 2 awful performances against the Eagles and a couple key drops. But, down in, down out, both those guys have been dogs. From Matt Temple, a friend of mine had an idea. If you're kicking off from the 50, you should be allowed to attempt a free kick. What's your opinion on this, Tom? It's a clever idea. Something has to change next year. Right now, there's a loophole, essentially, where if you kick off from the 50, you kick it out of bounds, and you get the ball, the opposing gets the ball at the 25. So that is a no-brainer. The Cowboys tried that, but they had the offsides, whatever nonsense there somehow. But you also can't ask them to, put it in where you kick off from the 50, and now you have even less, frankly, room to operate with. It's kind of actually, I think it's a more challenging kick to get it inside the landing zone and, give a still a free return. I think they need to do something on that front. Maybe you allow for a free onside kick chance, something along those lines. Something's got to be adjusted with the way the rule is right now. Body Ants, we need to keep Osa, Clark, and Williams, and Pickens. I know it's UTs, but can you restructure Clark? DC for life. Theo's DC for life. Yes, he is, Mighty Ant. This came on because I was doing a short from the in-laws with Theo on my lap, taking a sleep. You can keep all 4 guys, including Pickens. I think if you keep Clark, though, I would almost argue for an extension. It frees up more money than just a straight restructure does, and probably isn't going to be that much more expensive in terms of what you're guaranteeing. And I would also extend Quinnen, too, because I think that should be done this offseason. As for taking Farrell Reese, I get it. He would have been awesome. He's an awesome football player. I had made the comment, back when you had I think it was 4 wins. I think you had 1 too many games already. And there are still 8 teams with 3 wins or fewer. And that's probably going to finish around 5 or 6. Maybe it's still 5, but he's going to go top 5. So I think you had 1 too many games. Plus, your 4 wins are going to get you last in the ordering because of the tie. So do you want to keep the big 3 at defensive tackle and Clark, Quinnen, and Osa? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Kai Trimble says Trevon Diggs at safety, then it's a 10. This is in reference to confidence or excitement level in Diggs returning. Brian Schottenheimer essentially shot that one down, saying haven't considered it. And I kind of agree with Shotty. I think a mid-season change, if I haven't played come off an injury, is probably not going to go very well. Great if it does, sweet. But, Ramsey's played safety, but Ramsey tackles. Diggs does not tackle. And, he might have ball hawk ability, sweet, but your safeties have to fit the run every play. I don't trust Diggs to do that, frankly. Marcus Arnold says, thanks, bro. When you make your list of mistakes, you can't have stupid stuff on the list, like Turpin fumbling at running back, at Besham before RB, the coach not challenging a block punt, the coach not punting the pin a bad offense deep, and the coach pass out of the 5-yard line. So this was in reference to the Raiders game for Schottenheimer because it came in around the Eagles game, or came around the Eagles game and before the Chiefs game, so the timing didn't work for a live show. I thought he was better against the Chiefs. Big deal there. There are still some decision-making stuff. I just don't get it. You want to get Trevor involved, I'm okay with that, but this is the downside of having a small guy get carries. The not challenging the punt one, I'm not thrilled with it. I'm not. I don't blame him. I couldn't tell live The broadcast didn't show a replay on time. There was no way for the coaching staff to truly know. And I'm not sure I'm going to trust the receiver in the moment saying I didn't do anything wrong. Like, that's kind of tough to trust. Like, I don't mind it there. $5 from Wyatt Proctor. These next two games, this came in before the Chiefs game, are legacy games for Dak Prescott. I think the future will be a defining moment in his career. Overreaction. This is a take that I've seen like ESPN push out there. And my response is no, it's not. I agree, Wyatt. It's an overreaction. It is the regular season. We don't care. It helps you get to the playoffs. They matter. They're important games to win. I want my quarterback and my team, with the healthy quarterback, being a better way of framing it, winning a bunch of games. But it's not a legacy-defining game. It's just not. Now, if it leads to an MVP, okay, maybe that's actually part of the conversation. But, like, Dak was traded all for playoff success and championships. And he said that many times before. Every player out there would, except, I guess, for Cam Newton. Like, everyone would do it. So, you're not... And by the way, if the Cowboys win 10 games and they miss the playoffs somehow, or win 9 games, win all these games at the stretch and miss the playoffs, the narrative's going to be, see, Dak's not good. They're going to say, win these games and we'll treat you differently, and then they're not going to treat him differently. Overall, what is your confidence level in Dak Prescott? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comments section of today's show. 1 to 10 is your scale. SHK, do you still believe Dak is in MVP talks? The way that the NFL MVP award works is you have to make the playoffs. If you don't make the playoffs, you are not gonna win that award. Now, Dak's odds have gone up. I think he was at like plus 2,200 going in to week 13, and now he's at plus 1,200. He's actually fourth in the odds behind Matt Stafford, who's the betting favorite, Drake May, Jordan Love. Jordan Love is super. He's not my type of quarterback, but he's really good, so it's fine, whatever. He is in the MVP talks, but if they drop 2 games, he's out. Even if he scores 45 points and the offense lights it up and the defense allows 50 and they lose those games, he's out. If the Cowboys make the playoffs, he might very well win MVP. That would not be a surprise. JL Channel. I think the Cowboys' best path to the playoffs is winning the division. I see the Eagles falling apart. I think Pickens will be signed by Dallas. So I agree. I think NFC East might be your best path. There's the least amount of resistance involved there. And also the most amount of we had no control. But I think it actually is one of the easier paths. As for Pickens being signed, he will at least be franchise tagged. I can pretty much guarantee that. Long term, I think so. It's the Cowboys. Let's see how it plays out. But I am anticipating an extension there. Today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, and that is PrizePicks. They now offer early payouts. If you get off to a hot start with your lineup, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Now available in more than 45 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. One of our football PrizePicks lineups, Jake Ferguson, more than receiving yards, plus Javonte Williams, more than yards on the ground. Will Anderson, more than a quarter of a sack. So just needs the half sack there. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. But it's PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. William Cook, what is the possibility of Dallas drafting Sonny Styles at linebacker? I think it's possible. I think it depends on that second first-round pick could very much be in the sweet spot for him. I wouldn't be too surprised on that front for Sonny Styles. I think that makes kind of a lot of sense, actually. I think it's a logical fit. It tracks. It just makes sense to me of where he should go, the value, what they need. I would be on board with that. From Stephen Jones with the first letters flipped, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Jeppin Stones? I don't know. If the Cowboys lose, I think this is against the Lions is my assumption, or maybe just in general. I'll answer it both ways. Is the season over? Not fully. It is not fully over. But it really gets murky. It's sub 50% if you lose against the Lions, just over 50% lose another game plus win out. You have maybe room for one loss, and there are scenarios in which you have the one loss and you don't get in. That's a toss-up, but you don't have a lot of room for error right now. What do you think the Cowboys' record will end up being this season? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Chris Snow, Vikings just released Adam Thielen. Should the Cowboys grab him for certain plays, or it is a waste of time? I don't know what he offers you right now. You know that I get the quarterback play is different, obviously, but you know that Jalen Tolbert is like doubling every stat that Adam Thielen has this year? And he can't even get on the field right now. Adam Thielen, I think he's cooked. I think he's washed up. He doesn't play special teams. I would rather give Flanoy snaps. I'd rather give Turpin snaps. I got no use for another receiver who can't help me on special teams when I already have Mingo and Tolbert in that category. I see no benefits for Thielen. Like, the Bills want him? Okay, sure, whatever. Chiefs want him? Fine. I don't think he makes sense at all for the Dallas Cowboys. SHK, do you believe the Cowboys can make a proper playoff push if they make it, or do you think that the surrounding cast of teams are just too good? I think you're onto something very smart here, SHK. You're going to be underdogs in every single playoff matchup that you have. You're going to be the team that nobody wants to play. But if you sneak in as like the 4, or if you're the 4 seed, even if you're at home, home game against Seattle is not going to be easy. You're probably going to be dogs in that one. If you sneak in as the 7 seed, are you playing the Packers again? That's probably your plan, right? Packers or Bears, maybe? It's going to be tough. Like, I think that there is a gap the Cowboys are facing behind some of these other teams in the playoff picture. Maybe the Niners are different because of the injuries that they faced, but that's still like, you're not going to play them necessarily. Like, in all likelihood, it's going to be almost possible to play them. So, like, even if you make the playoffs, it's a hell of a season, you got to pull another upset to have any success. Like, you're not going to be favored in those games. And frankly, nor should you be. Their defenses and offenses combined are better overall. Thank you. That's a really good point to make there. If you want to be a part of future mailbags, hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Free Cowboys videos each and every single day. Steven, 2 different questions. Think the Eagles miss Kellen Moore as their OC? Yeah, I think so. I think it's pretty clear. And then they also miss offensive line, and Hurts has had some issues at various points too. I think Witten will make the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. I hope so, but it's the NFL Hall of Fame. Like, who knows what they'll actually end up doing. David M. Adam Schefter reported that Amon-Ra St. Brown did not practice today, him not playing with a pivotal role if we have a good chance of winning. I don't think he's going to play. Again, we'll revisit this later in the week, but I don't think he's going to play. I just think that it's too tight of a timeline. Like, it's just, I don't see it happening for him. I think that is a big boost for the Cowboys. I will say all the lines and stuff you see, they already factor that in. They kind of already factor in, hey, we're not going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown out there.